There's sacred anger, and then there is an unconscious, a shadow material which bubbles up from unresolved trauma. Today we are differentiating what it feels like to harness an embodied sense of conviction compared to a consumption of an overwhelming energy. So we'll get into some nervous system theory, and we'll also look at a woman's shadow material and dive deep into the inner work. Now, we first have to look at the former and address the unconscious, the shadow material, this bubbling up of anger can look so overwhelming. From the outside perspective, it may be the hysterical woman, which has a massive cathartic release. And in this, she loses all sense of self. Well, this catharsis is the nervous system expanding and breaking beyond its container. So the ego can't remain exactly where it's at. It has come outside and disassociated from itself. And that may be why so many women fear experiencing anger, experiencing such intensity. And within this, how many stories reside on the surface? Is it because we haven't validated ourselves? We haven't stood up for ourselves. We haven't set boundaries. We are constantly in a place of bending our knee and people pleasing. And within that, there is an immense amount of resentment around our ability to remain grounded in who we are. So unfortunately and paradoxically, we disassociate, come completely out of our body, and there's this experience of ecstatic release. Now, I've only had a rage attack one time in my life, and it was so intense right after my partner passed away that I literally, I didn't even see red. Everything went black, and I caught myself having a beautiful somatic release where I allowed my body to just go heavily. I was hitting a table, but I was so angry. And I even feel my heartbeat racing right now as I go back to that experience, because your body remembers trauma. So taking myself back to that moment, I had such an intense release. I didn't see anything. My ears were ringing, my body was shaking. I fell to the ground and I started to have this heavy weep. The sadness came over me that I put myself in a place that I no longer want to be in. So my partner's passing, it was a transition of me leaving, literally moving through a transition from one state to another, and this releasing didn't do anything. It didn't do anything. It allowed me to cry, but I didn't understand why. I didn't understand the trauma that I had experienced. Okay, it was just so intense, but when we go into this state, it's not a connection to the sacred. And the sacred, if you look that up, a sacred is a connection to God. So when we have the unconscious realm bubbling up from within and we feel a sense of anger and we're afraid of that, and then we just keep pushing it away, push it away. Be the good girl. Be the sweet little one that says, yes, I'm going to keep sticking around even though I want to leave. I'm going to follow suit and follow all these guidelines and rules. Yes. Okay, that builds up because there is still a part of you, and this is a dark feminine. There is an aspect of you who wants to say no and set boundaries and step away and not speak up for others and not have to hold your peace. That is real and that is raw. Now, we cannot have, I'm getting very intense with this, we cannot have a cathartic release every single time that we want to validate ourselves. This is where the mature and the sacred need to come in. We have to find a balance between the two. So now we're going to look at the latter, the sacred, the beautiful divine connection between you and anger. And this means building a conscious relationship with an emotion that is godlike. Because when this emotion patterns around your body and you experience it in your nervous system, you have to do the nervous system work to build a capacity to experience the anger. But you want to keep building it. You want to push your boundaries. Okay, this is like a muscle. We have to exercise our emotions. We can't be always, treading around our emotions, kind of walking on eggshells, fearing the extremity of them. We need to kind of push beyond and allow ourselves to build the nervous system to let it keep getting bigger and bigger. Because what happens there is we're actually integrating more of our ego. Our I is getting bigger, which means we can see greater aspects of who we are. And it can grow and grow. So our personality refines in this way, like, oh, I am capable of dealing with a situation and of setting the boundaries. So with this sacred energy, we are pulling it into our nervous system, consciously working with it, having a dialogue out loud, reflecting on the root system, and then creatively and expressively working to integrate it. And now, what do I mean by this creation and expression? Well, anger can be something that is positive and healthy. So in my last video, right before I made that, it was on self-love. I allowed myself to be honest with how angry I was about a situation. And then I decided, you know what, I'm gonna create with this. I don't feel right. I don't like this feeling of anger, but I'm here. And the truth is that it's present. So working with it in a way where I can pull it in, I can contain it, I can feel it in my lower belly, I can pull it up into my heart space, and then I can let my words be the expression of how important it is to look at our emotions, because everything else for self-love practices of us externalizing the self-love, it has to be an internal process. And so I allow that to be expressed, my anger to be expressed through that video. But again, the sacred act is to honor the emotion and its intensity, and then to learn the power that it has and how it can maybe make us think that we are more powerful than what we are, or make us less powerful than what we are. Okay, we have to find a sweet spot, and that's the inner work for this. That is the shadow work, is that you have to constantly meet this emotion and you have to dialogue with it to find a greater root cause of where it's coming from. Because on a somatic level, you will forever go back to the experience of when you had that anger, of how you felt, of how it scared you. You kind of resented that you even could feel this, because as a woman, we're always trying to be more than who we are, because we are the mother, the sister. We are this carrier of, kind of the goddess. But we are not the goddess. We are not the goddess. We are a complex system that is always trying to find this place of harmony. But thank God that our psyche and our nervous system has the ability to self-regulate and teach us how we can find the balance between the black and the white. Okay, we're always in this gray realm floating around. So for a woman to do somatic shadow work in this way, let yourself feel. I invite you to feel, and I always invite you to express. Okay, if you want to do this work one-to-one with me, look at my pinned comments below, because this is what we do. You have to have a system. Your body, your mind, your spirit has to be in a safe container to learn your limits, to break past your boundaries, and to learn how this inner conviction with the sacred is going to make you more of you. Okay, you can find confidence in doing this work. And you have to do it in an appropriate way, not by treating others as though they are the root cause of why you're angry, but looking at your ability to take responsibility for all of this. Emotions are intense, but we don't have to be afraid of them. We just need to learn how to embody and embrace them, and then gracefully and confidently express them. Let me know how you experience this video. Leave it in the comments below, and I will catch you in the next clip.